Congratulations! You're an egg, a mammal in an egg? Because apparently, evolution couldn't make up its mind. You're stuck in this hard shell for about 10 days, packed into a damp burrow your mom slapped together at the edge of a creek. No sunlight, no fresh air, just the earthy smell of mud, and whatever fungi are growing nearby. Your mom, who is somehow both a mammal and a discount duck, runs around occasionally, checking on you and your siblings not to, interact with you, but to make sure you're not eaten by a snake or squished under her own weight. When you finally hatch, you're greeted by the grand reveal of your own body, blind, bald, and floppy. You look like a jelly bean that's been microwaved just a little too long. You can't see, you can't walk, and your fur, if you can call it that, is so non-existent, you might as well be a wet noodle. This is your life now. Better get used to it. You're hungry, but don't get excited. It's not like Mom has a nice bottle of milk ready to go. No platypus. Mom skipped the whole nipples memo. Instead, the milk leaks straight out of her skin. It just kind of seeps out like an old sponge, and you're supposed to lap it up as it pools on her fur. Delicious. Your days are all the same. You sit in the dark occasionally, latching onto Mom's fur for another hit of skin milk. You're slimy and useless, more blob than baby. And evolution seems to have no immediate plans to improve your situation. Weeks go by, and the most exciting thing that happens is growing fur even. That's a slow process. You don't even get to feel proud about it. It's just fur. Everyone else in the animal kingdom already has it. And the best part? There's no one to commiserate with. You're crammed into this burrow with your siblings who are just as bald and clueless as you are. And there's no playtime, no bonding. You're all too busy doing the one thing you know how to do, not die. And trust me, with the amount of things trying to eat you out there, even that's a stretch. Eventually, your mom decides you're ready for the outside world. She doesn't ask. She doesn't explain. She just shoves you out of the burrow. You waddle down to the water, mostly because gravity makes the choice for you. And then splash, you're in. You immediately discover swimming isn't the graceful, intuitive skill nature documentaries make it out to be. You try to paddle, you sink, you panic, you swallow water, you bob back up like a soggy sponge, only to get dragged by the current. You paddle harder, still sinking, still panicking. Your mom, she's already swimming away. Thanks for the pep talk. Once you stop flailing long enough to figure out how your webbed feet work, you manage a kind of pathetic doggy paddle. Unfortunately, it's at this moment you realize the water isn't safe. Birds circle overhead. Snakes slither near the shore. Everything with teeth seems to have spotted you. You dive into the mud, because what else are you going to do? Fight. No, you sit there submerged in a soup of muck, hoping lose interest. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Either way, you stay in the mud until the danger passes, or until you remember you can't breathe underwater. Then you paddle off, looking like a half-drowned leaf. You're hungry, so you hunt, except hunting, as a platypus, is less. Dramatic chase through the wild and more stick your face in the mud and hope for the best. You use your bill, which is basically a high-tech gadget slapped onto your face, to detect electrical signals from worms, shrimp, and other tiny creatures squirming in the muck. This sounds impressive until you realize what it actually involves: sticking your head underwater, feeling around blindly, and hoping something wriggly ends up in your mouth. Sometimes you find a worm. Sometimes you find a rock. Yes, a rock. You don't spit it out either. You eat it, not because you're starving, but because eating rocks apparently helps you grind up your food. That's your life now, voluntarily swallowing gravel. so your body can figure out how to digest a worm every so often. You find an actual shrimp. It's not much, but it's better than mud, and you gulp it down like it's a Michelin star meal. Then it's back to the muck for more blind foraging, because being a platypus means doing the same sad routine over and over again. By the time you're a juvenile, you've figured out the basics of platypus: survival, don't drown, don't get eaten, and occasionally find something edible. You're better at swimming. Now your fur is thicker and you've got a little more confidence. Not much though, because life is still a never-ending headache for starters. Rival platypuses are everywhere. You claim a little patch of river as your own, but every other platypus seems determined to trespass on it. They slap their tails at you, which is platypus for leave or I'll make your day worse. Sometimes you slap back. Sometimes they ignore your warning, and that's when things escalate. Fighting, as a platypus, isn't majestic. There's no cinematic leaping or snarling. It's just thrashing, flailing, and more tail-slapping. Picture two angry dish sponges slapping each other in a puddle. That's you. If you're a male, you've got venomous spurs on your back legs, which sounds cool until you use them. They don't kill anyone, they just hurt a lot. You kick your opponent. They flinch, and you both leave the fight with bruises and a deep sense of regret. It's not a weapon that makes you feel powerful. It's a weapon that makes you wonder why evolution even bothered. And the hunger, it's constant. You're always foraging because worms and shrimp don't exactly pack a lot of calories. You spend hours digging your bill into the mud, hoping to find enough food to keep your energy up. But hey, at least you're not drowning anymore. Progress, right? Once you hit adulthood, your mom has had enough of you. She just leaves. You're on your own now. No friends, no family. Just you and the river. Platypuses are loners. It's not about independence or freedom. It's about survival. Your days are loop paddle around. Dig for food, occasionally find food, and repeat. Every so often a bird swoops by, and you dive for cover because you're still low on the food chain. It's not exactly glamorous. Sometimes you run into another platypus. If it's a female, things get weird. Fast platypus courtship is awkward. You swim in circles around her, hoping she doesn't slap you. She either ignores you, slaps you, or on very rare occasions decides you're tolerable enough to mate with romance at its finest. If it's another male, the encounter is worse. It's tail slapping, more fighting, and more pointless injuries. You'd think by now you'd be good at fighting, but no. Every scuffle feels like an exhausting waste of energy, and you leave wondering why either of you bothered. By the time you hit your prime, you've got a small stretch of river you can call your own. You're a decent swimmer now, nothing Olympic worthy, but you can paddle around without embarrassing yourself. You've also become a pro at foraging. That's not to say life is good, though. It's just less disastrous than before. Most of the time, your so-called territory is just a muddy patch of riverbank. With some reeds and a half-decent burrow on a good day, you can dig up enough worms and shrimp to keep your stomach. From growling on a bad day, which is most days, drought dries up the river, leaving you poking at cracked mud and hoping for rain. If it's not a drought, it's a flood. The water rises, your burrow fills up, and you have to waddle around in a panic, trying to rebuild while avoiding becoming someone's dinner, and predators still every, where snakes slither around the banks, hawks circle overhead, and foxes wander the edges of the water, all looking for an easy meal. You spend half your time hiding in muddy water, trying not to move, because staying still is your best survival strategy. It's not exactly a power move, but it works. Sometimes. Oh, and then there are the humans. They've got big plans for your little river, none of which involve your survival. One day, they decide to dam it, cutting off your water supply. Another day, they show up with fishing poles, beer cans, and loud music, turning your home into a campsite. If you're lucky, they won't notice you. If you're not, you might end up tangled in a fishing net or stuffed into a sack destined to be studied in someone's lab or mounted on someone's wall as a conversation piece. And let's not forget the cars humans build roads wherever they please, slicing through your habitat like they own the place. Crossing one of these roads is a death sentence waiting to happen. You run across, trying to avoid becoming roadkill, while cars zoom past at speeds your little webbed feet can't comprehend. If you survive the crossing, congratulations, you get to go back to your damp, miserable burrow and do it all over again. Tomorrow, this is your peak. Apparently, you're supposed to be at your strongest, smartest, and most capable. Instead, you're spending your best years dodging predators, scavenging for food, and hoping humans forget you exist. It's not much of a peak, but it's all you've got. One day, you're swimming along, minding your own business. When a shadow passes over the water, you look up, and there it is, a massive bird, before you can even think about diving. It grabs you. Just like that. You're in the air, hanging by your skin as it carries. You higher and higher. You kick your legs and twist your body. Not because you have a plan, but because you're out of options. And somehow you slip. Free! Now you're falling. You spin a bit, your legs going everywhere, and then splash. You hit the water hard. It feels like getting slapped by a river, but hey, you're alive. You take a second to float there, stunned but sort of relieved. Lucky, you think, but then you notice something tugging at your bill. You look